where movies were never safe to begin with, and the truth is stranger than fiction. Starring Moral Bob, Drew Misson,
and Ryan Dean.
Conspiracy Theater 3000.
Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep.
Something given has no value.
Well, I got a couple of thousand goddamn questions, you know?
The world ain't what it seems, is it, Gunny?
I want to speak to someone in charge.
The moment you think you got it figured, you're wrong.
And force, my friends, is violent.
They've been studying us for years, finding out our weaknesses.
I want to lodge a complaint.
You think you're safe and alive? You're already dead, everybody.
They have created a repressive society, and we are their unwitting accomplices.
The world is a business.
You have no right to make people crazy.
We've got to stop them! They're gonna kill us all!
How come I know so much?
Their intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness.
What the hell is going on around here? Who are you people?
They are safe as long as they are not discovered. That is their primary method of survival. Keep us asleep, keep us selfish, keep us sedated.
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented.
This month, the guys Drew, Bob, and Ryan check out the 1993 conspiracy political thriller In the Line of Fire. Directed by Wolfgang Petersen, tells the story of veteran Secret Service agent Frank Horrigan, a man haunted by his failure to save President John F. Kennedy while serving protection detail in Dallas, Texas. 30 years later, a man calling himself Booth threatens the life of the current president, forcing Horrigan to come back to protection detail to confront the ghost from his past. Why is it that Clint Eastwood always has a look on his face like his grandson has just told him his preferred pronouns? As the election gets closer, Horrigan begins to doubt his own abilities. This film would have been better if it included an orangutan, like that other Clint Eastwood film, Every Which Way But Loose. Now that was a great movie. It turns out that Booth's real name is Leary, an ex-assassin for the CIA. They tried to kill him for a lifetime's work. They thanked him by sending his best friend and colleague to kill him. Booth sets up the final stage to assassinate the president. John Malkovich really makes this movie.
Welcome back for another episode of Conspiracy Theater 3000. Gentlemen, welcome back. Here we are again for another little breakdown. Considering it's US election season, we've got all kinds of interesting things going on. I felt it was time for us to dive into a normie conspiracy film. Just so happens to be about a presidential election and assassination attempts. And I'd be remiss not to talk about this now, considering the events that have just happened with the supposed air quotes attempt on Trump's life. Gentlemen, how are we going?
Man, I'm doing all right. Just living the Australian dream, working 9 to 5, and
yeah, man, doing good. Excited to talk about a new film, man. I actually hadn't seen this, and I didn't watch the very end. I know what happens. But I fell asleep because we were watching this late at night. And I think I had like 30, maybe 45 minutes to go. It's a long movie. It's like over 2 hours, right?
Dude, this could put you to sleep during the day.
2 hours and like 5 minutes. It's like It's like a shade over. It's like 124 minutes.
If you want an
Okay,
afternoon nap, you sit down on the couch, you put this on, and you're asleep by 3 o'clock for sure.
Oh yeah.
Sure. I mean, I was interested in it. You know, Malkovich is an interesting dude, and then I've always liked Clint Eastwood. Obviously, I've only really seen him in newer movies in his old age because he's been in the fucking industry forever. I think he's like 105 years old.
That's all you've seen him in?
No, I've seen like the Dirty Harrys of the world and
okay,
like, you know, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Hamburger Hill?
I have not seen Hamburger Hill.
Stellar. That's
yeah, he's great.
Clint Eastwood, man.
Yeah, he's one of those actors where, like, no matter what role he's playing, he's always Clint Eastwood. But it's kind of like, you know, I don't like him nearly as much, but like Robert De Niro, Will Smith, like those guys, they're always kind of just themselves in movies. But yeah, he always makes these things work. And then John Malkovich has such a big personality, man. Favorite John Malkovich movie, just sidestepping, Con Air, dude. Con Air is
that's his best role for sure.
So good.
I don't know if it's his best, but it's up there because I definitely like him in Rounders.
I've not seen
Rounders.
I'll have to write that down.
What?
Rounders.
Rounders. Yeah, Rounders is
hey,
is a movie about poker, and it's with Ed Norton and Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Is that your new baby?
Yes, it is. This is Molly.
You can't tell. She's a carbon copy of her father.
She is adorable. How cute.
She really is.
She's cute.
That's my girl.
She's got little Michelin Man elastic bands around the wrists. I love them when they're at that age. They're just so chunky.
Yeah, she's the Michelin Man.
How sweet.
We lined up her legs and my almost 13-year-old son's arm. Her legs are bigger.
Son needs to lift.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Babies are supposed to be a little chunky too, in case they get sick. Yeah. God forbid, they can. You know,
she's perfectly chunky.
Good. Well, yeah, beautiful child.
Not a Clint Eastwood fan.
Really? See, I love Clint Eastwood.
She would not settle down to get the fuck out of the room.
What I love about Clint Eastwood is he's always got the look on his face like his grandson just told him his pronouns.
Right.
He's perpetually pissed off. That's what I like.
Yeah, I think I see Clint Eastwood perpetually as the guy from Gran Torino.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Like that's him.
That's a role of a lifetime. Role of a lifetime for him, man. He wrote that too, I think. So
yeah, I mean, he's got my wife the whole time was like, Clint Eastwood wrote this movie, didn't he? Was he the director too?
Yeah,
that's all he does.
And it makes sense.
There's so much fucking misogyny.
Well, racial jokes too. The racist jokes in there. You know, he just like him and his buddies would tell those to each other. You know, like there's a clip that goes around on social media. It's like specifically Instagram where he's like 3 Jews walk into a bar and the bartender says, "Get the fuck out," and like that's the whole joke. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, that makes sense for someone like him to tell. But you know, it's always good. It's in good fun. Nothing against the Jews.
And for the listeners who haven't figured this out yet, because you might be a lot younger than some of us, but the film that we're breaking down today is In the Line of Fire, the 1993 conspiracy political thriller directed by Wolfgang Petersen, which tells the story of veteran Secret Service agent Frank Horrigan, played by Clint Eastwood, a man haunted by his failure to save President John F. Kennedy while serving the protection detail in Dallas, Texas. 30 years later, a man calling himself Booth, played by John Malkovich, threatens the life of the current president, forcing Horrigan to come back to the protection detail to confront the ghosts of his past. So it goes in line with what's happening in America of late, and I think we should really start off, before even looking at the film, getting into the minutiae of it, we have to get our thoughts on the whole attempted Trump assassination. Bob, I know where your thoughts are going to be, so I'm going to have to go to Ryan.
There was better acting in this movie. And this movie was fucking terrible.
Well, John Malkovich was actually an efficient killer. The kid wasn't, apparently.
Right. I mean...
Yeah, it sounds like John Malkovich could get some shit done
clearly,
than this kid.
Yeah, clearly the Trump assassination was staged, and Trump was in on it. It wasn't a near miss. It was... I've had so many people that were like, "Oh, so you think Trump would have somebody shoot at his ear and barely miss?" And I'm like, "No, you fucking idiots. He didn't get shot at. You fucking dummies." Like, it's all
Yeah.
a stage, man. Like, he goes down, holds his ear, comes back up, drops his hand. There's barely any blood, and it's dry already. Fucking come on.
You could almost see the Heinz ketchup
alone,
packet
I'm
in his
just
hand.
Right. Like, he fucking smears the ketchup off across his face. Like, and one thing I want to point out, because we're going to get to it in the movie, but even in this fucking garbage movie, when the president gets shot at, the Secret Service fucking fall on top of him and don't let him up until fucking everything's cool. They don't let him get up and fucking fist pump. They don't let him do some theatrical shit. Like, come on, man. That's probably the truest part of this movie was when the Secret Service jumped into action.
Well, yeah, it appears like the acting of the Secret Service in films is far more efficient than what the real people are.
Right. Well, and the people, when shooting started happening, they freaked out, panicked, and started running for doors. Again, unlike the Trump assassination, where they're like, oh shit, I'm going to get it on my phone. Come on.
Well, it is a different time. I will say, like, I don't think
Well,
that all of the
sure.
people in the crowd were behind it. Like, I don't know if you go that far to think everyone in the crowd was in on it. I wouldn't go that far. That's fucking wild if you think that.
I would go as far to say that event didn't even happen in what we would call reality.
Boom! That's a big call. Go for it. Keep going.
I think it could be a completely AI-generated false fucking event that didn't even happen. There was no shooter. There was no anything. Like, it was all fake. It was all completely computer-generated. Have you seen what they could do? Like, watching this movie, okay, to correlate it to the movie we're watching tonight, did you see the fucking technology that they were claiming to have in 93? Seamlessly, not only what they claimed to have with, John Malkovich's character and altering him and aging him and doing all of that, but then video and pictures of Clint Eastwood seamlessly integrated into JFK video. Like, where it's like, this was fucking 93. And that looks like Clint Eastwood standing behind JFK. Like,
yeah. I want some of the weed you're smoking if you think that this is fucking simulation 100%. It was a real event.
No, I think it could be. I think it is very possible. I don't know what happened. If you're asking
That's
me what I actually hold as the highest possibility, I think Trump was at a staged rally. It was all staged. They were all fucking actors. And somebody fucking popped a balloon and he went down, held his ear, came up, ears fucking barely bloody and dry because it was fake fucking blood that didn't run. And they hustled him off, and Trump, in his enormous ego, goes, "No, man, I got a fist bump."
Yeah. No, that's the smartest thing I think to say, is that you don't know what's going on, because that eliminates you just looking like an ass, right? Not just you, but anybody. Like,
I couldn't give a fuck what people think I look like. I don't give a
sure.
You're misinterpreting my ability to care about what other people think about me.
No, I'm not. I mean, I know you fairly well, but I just think that, like, when you sit there and not you, but when someone sits there and says, "This is what happened. We need to fucking support Trump. We need to crowdsource a private security for him," and all this shit. That kind of makes you look like an ass. If later, let's say 10 years, 20 years, something comes out where it's like, yeah, dude, like, this was fucking set up. This was one of the greatest political rig jobs of all time. I'm not saying that's what happened, but when you plant your flag so hard on one side, and, like, facts potentially come out, it destroys your credibility, which, I know not everyone cares about that and whatnot. But as far as what I think, man, I don't know if someone actually shot at him. I really don't. Like, where I'm at is, like, I heard a bunch of theories. I heard that the bullet hit a teleprompter, which are glass, and then it was a piece of glass that cut his ear. That makes so much more fucking sense than a bullet hitting him. You know what I mean? Again, the odds of all this shit working out just perfectly to where it just grazes his ear and all this stuff. But it also feeds a conservative narrative that, like, we shouldn't be hiring people based off of gender or race or any of this stuff, because you see this obese Secret Service woman.
She looks like Rebel Wilson.
Completely, huh?
She looks like Rebel Wilson when she was fat.
I would rather have Rebel Wilson as my bodyguard.
I mean, it was wild how incompetent she looked. Now, was this all set up? Could have been. But yeah, man, when she can't fucking reholster her gun because she can't get it over her fat, like, this is not someone that should have ever even been in that position in the first place.
Well, but, that helps you see that it's staged, right? Like,
right. Well, the narrative about how much the deep state hates Trump, right? That just feeds that conservative narrative. That's what I'm saying. So when it first happened, I was on my way to my friends to watch some UFC fights. I saw it. I think Joe from Legit Bat and Kim told me at the same time. And right away I was like, just my gut feeling was, yeah, this was like a photo op. It seemed fake. But then I heard more about it and I was like, well, shit, maybe they were actually just trying to like get something set up to kill this dude. And now I'm back to that spot where it seems very fishy. Everything about it seems weird. The sloped roof theory that, you know, these
That's
fucking,
so dumb.
It's wild. So you know, these second and third shooter theories, you know, the internet just runs wild with misinformation and disinformation. So it's tough to 100% get the truth. But I am in the camp of, I don't know what the fuck happened. And I don't know what the goal was.
Right.
I don't know anything about it. I
wouldn't be surprised if the goal was.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if something similar happened with Kamala Harris. You know, the Democrat, Nancy Pelosi, you know, someone killed a pig and, you know, put the head on her doorstep. It's probably Nancy Pelosi that did that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like crazy to think that these people do these political stunts or these sympathy stunts to get some fucking line movement in their approval ratings.
Oh, sure. It's for approval, but like I don't know if you were ran off or not, but I told Drew it's about way more than votes, man. Like, or we did it before it was recording something, but this isn't about votes. This is about support, which is a different thing. Like it's a
whole different drug.
It's a whole different fucking drug than voting. There is a lot of people that'll die for Trump that won't go vote for him.
Hopium.
You know,
yeah.
Like they're like, oh, I'm not going to vote, but it's
playing into hopium. And what's worse is, and you alluded to it earlier, Ryan, is that it's placating to the ideas of the deep state is against Trump. And then that further feeds like the Q movement and everything goes along with that. So that if, say, Trump loses an election and it's stolen from him, are these people going to step out and do something? Are they going to cause some kind of civil unrest? This is what it's
got the shirt for it now, dude.
Yeah, you got the Boogaloo
boys.
Oh, Boogaloo.
And you'd be painting your nails green and blue, and you can be on a sniper rifle like on Civil War. Just
right. And I will. I already got my nails painted, dude. No, it's interesting and it's weird to see, you know, like what other people from other countries like yourself, Drew, like what you guys think about this shit show. But I also do see, and I think I've said this to you before, Drew, all these different countries, like the Five Eyes nations, Canadians, Australians, New Zealanders, the UK guys, they love making fun of our elections here in the US, but like all of our elections are such bullshit. And the politician, I mean, the theatrics and stuff aren't a part of your election as much. I admittedly don't pay very much attention at all to Australian politics or anything like that.
That makes two of us.
But you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, dude, we're all kind of in this same shit bucket together. And, you know, I don't know. Is making fun of it?
America polishes the turd, though. They take the turd that is voting in the election season, they polish it and they package it as something that people can really hook into. If foreigners are looking at the US election cycle and getting excited about it, that tells you how much propaganda they're pumping through that election cycle. The whole Trump attempted assassination in so many ways didn't pass the pub test. If I was down at the pub on a Friday night having a chat to someone and I pointed out 5 of the major questionable parts of this, people go, yeah, that sounds fake and gay. The fact that they took a photo of the bullet whizzing through the air, the idea that the kid was flying a drone over the area prior to it happening, which would be geo-locked and he wouldn't be able to do it. The idea that he turned his head in the right amount of time and now people are saying God intervened and saved him, but allowed the guy behind him to just get fucking smoked. Yeah, that makes sense. It's just too much going on.
This guy that's undoubtedly a better person than Trump, right? If this whole story is true, this father that would sacrifice his life for his kids, Trump Wouldn't do that. Now, I'm not sitting here talking shit about Trump because I would prefer Trump over Harris, to be honest. Like, I understand
you really
that there's
think
the
the
theory.
person in office matters that much?
It does to an extent. I don't think it does long term. I think it does to an extent, though. Like, gas prices were so much fucking cheaper. Everything was cheaper under Trump.
That's
I understand
all
that it's not
psychological.
I don't give a fuck. If I can save some money, even if I'm being psychologically
touche,
tricked,
right?
My money in my bank account is the most important thing, other than like my health and my family's health and shit. If they're tricking me, and
is it the idea of a psychological thing that's to an extent what Bob's saying, that you prefer Coke over Pepsi? You know both are equally bad for you, but you just prefer the taste of Coke. Is that what it comes down to?
Sure. And you know, people talk about like the whole thing of like and I said this before, not on here, I don't think, but the whole idea of like choosing between the lesser of two evils. Like, why are we catching ourselves in that system? We constantly, as human beings, no matter whether you're in Australia, whether in the US, wherever the fuck you're at listening, you're constantly choosing between the lesser of two evils every fucking day. Like, if you have a job that you don't enjoy going to, you're choosing that lesser of two evils. Like, it's either that or I'm homeless, right? Or I work a shittier job. Or, you know, you got to like the whole idea of doing something that you don't like to do, but you have to do it. You're making a choice there. And unless you're just 24/7 living in euphoria, you're making a choice between the lesser of two evils all the time. And
I don't know about that, because when you're talking about picking a president, picking a government, you're talking about evil, like in the purest sense of evil. Now,
sure,
choosing to go to this job instead of some other dickhead job, there's nothing evil, you know, that.
Well, a lot of people work for some pretty evil corporations, man.
Like Raytheon.
Well, sure,
Vanguard.
Sure, right, but if you're casting a broad net like
Pepsi,
that, you know, there's not necessarily anything evil in, you know, deciding to live the RV life or deciding to live, you know, a working life.
Sure, yeah, and being homeless obviously isn't
pure fucking evil in the government.
Right.
That's a system they've set up, though. They've set the system up so well that you're inclined that you have to choose one of those sides for the most part.
Without government, you wouldn't.
Because it impacts so much of your life. That's the perception they've put on us, though, right, Bob? The average person.
Yeah, we wouldn't have the evil choices if it weren't for fucking
Who
government.
would build the roads, Bob? Who would build the roads?
Right. I mean, it's tough. You know,
I understand your point for sure.
Well, we're in this system too, where, you know, we can't just get out of this, right? Like, there's easy answers on paper, but none of it's just like, you can't just pull the plug. You know, we're stuck in this, and there's ideas and there's a lot of theories that we could do, but dude, I think we're stuck in this and we have to try to make the best of it. I understand, you know, voting definitely seems like bullshit, but, I mean, what else are we going to do, man? There's nothing else to
local. It's all about local. Fuck national.
But those
politics,
are rigged too, man.
Federal shit. Not all the time, man. Like, I think if you get into a small enough community, you can have a voice that matters. I'm about to prove it in my shitty little fucking town that needs help. I mean, it's a great town. It's not a shitty town, but
yeah, that shouldn't be your campaign slogan.
It's a pretty small town.
This is a pretty shitty town.
It used to be really awesome here, and a lot of the locals are like, man, I don't know what the fuck happened, and then they complain about the local city council, the mayor, like the people here that run for office. And sure, you know, maybe all elections are rigged and the right person does get in, but
is your campaign going to be to blackfill the fuck out of the community until they come around?
No, see, I think Kaylee's going to be the one that runs, not me. I'm like Barack Obama. I'm going to control from behind the scenes.
I always knew you were black. There we go.
You watch Bob come on next time. He's like the most stereotypical fucking like bigwig Texas politician with the cowboy hat and the white suit. He's like, all right, now.
I've said it on plenty of podcasts. I have a price. It's a fucking big ass price.
Oh, me too.
I got one.
Me too.
I got one.
Me too. And dude, all these politicians that we talk shit about, they all had a price too, and their price was actually fucking hit.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, agreed, man. If they gave me enough money and agreed to some of my conditions, like
my stipulations.
Okay, what do you want me to do?
You're gonna end up like Boss Hog, and you got to.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, dude, I always thought that his car didn't get enough credit, man. It's always the General Lee. Nobody talks about Boss Hogg's fucking gangster ass Cadillac with a fucking bullhorn on the front of it, like big longhorns on the front of his Cadillac. Man, that shit was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think out there in Australia? I mean, obviously you don't speak for all of Australia, but like you and your buddies, what do you guys think about this whole attempt?
Well, this is the interesting thing. What we saw was that it instantly drove a wedge into the already heavily wedged politics in America, but it divided conservatives more than I think anyone else. And it did a bit of a paradigm shift. It turned conservatives into the people who don't question events and made the left-wing socialists the conspiracy theorists. So much to the point that it made a whole heap of air quotes conservatives go out, start doxing and using cancel culture against them, which for the past like 10, 15 years, they've been dead set against. They've all been about ultimate freedom of speech, unconditional freedom of speech, and now they're doxing and getting people fired for their jobs for saying, I wish Trump was dead type of stuff. So that was interesting. But the second part we're noticing is that a lot of these people know probably the same types of people behind this are the people that instigated the Gulf of Tonkin, intervention to Vietnam, 9/11. If you can fake a plane crash, you can fake an ear gash. It's that simple. And if the so-called deep state wanted him dead, his brain matter would have been scattered all over the world and everyone would have seen it. They would have seen it live. The fact that he's not dead, they don't want him dead as far as I'm concerned.
I don't know that they would have done it live if they really wanted him dead, because then he's a martyr, right? Like, they would have wanted to do it where he died in a hooker's fucking bed, you know, coked out of his mind. I think that's how they probably would have taken out Trump. You know, it would have been not a gunshot on stage. This was
heart attack in a bed, getting pissed on by a Russian prostitute type stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, something humiliating like that. Dan
on
Carradine
Barack Obama's
himself.
Yeah, Barack Obama's like room, whatever that fucking theory was. Jeez.
Yeah, man.
Anyway,
it's crazy.
It's a fucking fun time to be alive politically. I'll give you that, man. It's gonna be it's gonna be a hell of a show.
Very interesting.
I can't wait until I'm right about everything. It's gonna be fucking great.
That simulation one's gonna be the biggest drop ever. I like how you set the ceiling so high.
The one, again, the theories that I hold true, like, are the most likely, are what is going to happen. He's going to get the support of the right wing. He's going to get the support of the military, and then he's going to come after guns, and he's going to send the military and the police to go get him. And they're going to say, yes, sir, Mr. Trump, trust the plan. And they're going to fucking go get him. Like, that's what's coming. And I wish people would fucking realize it. Like, he already said, I like to take guns, and he banned bump stocks. That should have immediately sent every conservative running the other direction with him. He extended the Patriot Act. Like, he expanded every Obama-era war. He surrounded himself with people like Pompeo. Like, this dude's, like, on the surface. You don't even have to dig into the esoteric shit, man. It's right there on the exterior that Trump is not a fucking good guy. Like, and everybody's like, oh, he's so awesome. Like, he's okay.
I saw something where he could potentially put Larry Fink as his economic advisor. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mr. Larry Fink.
He's a BlackRock CEO, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, and he's of the tribe too. Did you hear Trump's recent comments about, if you're against the government of Israel, we don't want you in America. We're going to come after you. That's like 60% of conservatives in America. They know what's going on. They're noticing.
He said that?
Yes. All while having American flags and Israeli flags behind him the whole time.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't have the Israeli flag yet, but he probably will. So, yeah, I mean, it's shady, but I mean, I prefer just about anybody over Kamala Harris.
Gotta love Kamala Harris as Zionist.
She does have some good qualities, though, Ryan, and you know what they are? She can start a leaf blower.
Yeah, she can.
I thought you were going to say she likes to lock up blacks.
That is one of her favorite things, but I mean,
It's really is.
Well, she's repeating democratic history, right? The Democrats owned slaves back in the day, and most of them were actually black people that owned slaves. It's tradition.
Yeah, it's a fact. Yeah, I mean, for every bad thing I could say about Trump, I could say 10 or 20 about Kamala Harris that are bad. It's just, it is the lesser of two evils, and we'll see if we get Minority Report type shit because Ivanka fucking loves that stuff, that precognitive crime. They're already like behind things like Next Gen 911, which is centralized 911 systems, Pegasus, all these different crazy things. They're about that life. So we'll see.
Under Donald Trump, there will be a massive expansion of the government.
Yeah, there was last time.
Massive. Yep, sure was. State of emergency.
Yeah.
He instituted a state of emergency.
I just can't wait for you all to get monkeypox. But it needs a rebrand.
Yeah.
We're going to call it
Pride Pox. Apparently you have to have two things go in you. The jab and a dick. And so I'm not...
And if someone's been jabbed, their dick becomes the syringe anyway, so...
Little dick joke.
So it's vaccine homos that are out there fucking other dudes that are fucking spreading monkeypox.
Yeah.
You know what?
Weird, man.
Speaking of which, another tie-in in this movie to that conversation is, did you notice that when Clint Eastwood was sick, fucking nobody was worried about it? He was just sick. They're like, you just got the flu.
Now the flu is
Let
a
me
death
sit
sentence.
next to you and drink fucking whiskey.
You just said the best name for a sandwich shop, by the way. Speaking of which is a great sandwich shop name, dude. I love that.
Shit. It needs a hot witch holding a sandwich as the logo.
Yeah, but it's like Hooters, but they're just like hot witches.
Yeah,
I love that.
Patent pending. This is our idea.
Yeah. We came up with that.
We'll edit that out. We'll edit that out.
Trademark that right now.
All right. Well, we best get into it, fellas. First of all, a few did you knows. This one is very telling. So anytime a film is made in the United States that involves the military or the government, they get ultimate sign-off on the script and what's let in and what's taken out, right? They get oversight. This film marks the very first time the Secret Service offered full cooperation in making a film. So you have to ask yourself, what was added into the film and what was taken out for this to make it to the big screen, right? Secondly, there's several scenes with the president campaigning were actually from 1992, the campaign of Bill Clinton. So they're just shot for shot campaign trail images and they've added people in. Like you said, Bob, they've just crudely pasted in some of our characters into this, which it's noticeable now, but that was in the 90s. So what do they have today?
I mean, even now, like looking back at that, man, I was like, man, that's not terrible. It's not like paste and clip shit, like they were able to put it in there pretty well. I considered it.
Well, for the time, yeah, I'd agree. Robert De Niro was the first choice to play Mitch Leary, the assassin, but turned it down due to his scheduling conflicts with A Bronx Tale. Robert Duvall and Jack Nicholson were also considered before Malkovich was cast, which would have been a horrible thing because Malkovich just makes this film for what it is.
I don't know. Robert Duvall. That'd have been
Nicholson
an interesting.
Could have been pretty crazy, though.
Yeah, I think Duvall maybe would have been the best out of those three, though. De Niro, man, I don't think he's going to be any crazier than he was in Taxi. I don't think he can top that one.
And the last one, Tommy Lee Jones was initially considered for Frank Horrigan until
really
he gave it up. So another older gentleman.
He's fucking very unlikable, though.
He also has that face that looks like his grandson's just told him his pronouns.
The very first movie I ever saw him in was Under Siege.
Good movie. Knife fights.
It's a solid flick, man. Submarine fights? Dude, come on.
Prostitutes jumping out of cakes? It's got it all.
Right?
Alrighty, word magic. Frank Horrigan. Frank is French, which means free, while Horrigan has an obscure meaning grey-haired one. The irony of this film is that Frank is far from being a free man. His very profession is that of servitude to the level that he would give up his life, sacrificing it for the one he protects. Furthermore, he's shackled by his inability to protect JFK, unable to free himself from his own failure. Interesting that his last name means grey-haired one, and he's literally one of the only grey-haired men in the Secret Service in this film.
Well, he's the last standing one from the JFK incident.
Yeah.
Everyone else retired, as they probably should have.
He's still kicking around.
Yeah. Sweating all over the place.
Mitch Leary. So he's their assassin, played by John Malkovich. Mitch is Hebrew in origin, meaning he who resembles God. Leary is Irish in origin, meaning keeper of calves. Mitch is a character weaponized by the United States as a CIA asset and assassin. In this manner, he resembles God because he wields the power over life and death of others. As a character, he mentions many times he joined the CIA for many righteous and patriotic reasons. He loved America, what it was, and what it represented. Through his horrific history of murder, assassination, and killing, he's in some form protecting the calves back home, aka the American public. So he sees himself as this protector of what the American ideal is supposed to be, but it's degenerated over time. Next up, we have Lily.
Actually, I'm sorry.
Go for it.
Keep going. No, finish your thought. I was going to ask a question when you're done with this.
Yeah, Lily Raines, the last character. She's a female agent. Lily's English in origin, meaning pure and innocent. Raines means wise and counsel. As later spoken of in dialogue, Lily is a window dressing for the Secret Service, one of very few women within the department. This rose amongst the thorns is the window dressing of purity and innocence. She, throughout the film, offers wisdom and counsel to a conflicted and haunted Frank.
It's not the only thing she offers.
Oh, yeah. The coochie.
Yeah, I one clip that I did see out of the film when I was watching it was like, where do you hide your gun? It's like, what the fuck, dude? That's a wild thing to ask a lady.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to pull that off these days, man. Straight to jail.
That's assault, brother. Yeah, dude. I was going to ask, like, what do you think if any of these assassination attempts that are real, and obviously there are some lower profile people that get assassinated. I don't know how famous you have to be to get assassinated, right? Like if I was killed, it wouldn't be an assassination. It'd just be a murder, right? So right. At what level are these assassination attempts like motivated by? Like if it was actually a president that was getting shot at, what's the reasoning? Like you're not doing something that a lot of people would like. When people go and shoot up fucking kindergartens and stuff like that, or schools in general, how is that trying to get somebody behind your message? Because you're doing something awful. Like, where's the mindset in that, do you think? Like, I'll ask you, Drew. I'm just curious from a non-American.
I think when it's politically motivated, I think people have this idea that they're cutting the head off the snake. That if you take out the highest echelon of power, whether these people truly believe it or not, that's their motivation. The other side of things, they can be purely schizophrenic and want to be remembered, have a legacy. You got a pretty goddamn legacy if you take out a living president, prime minister, king, queen, what have you. Your name's going to be studied forever.
Yeah, you get studied like Lee Harvey Oswald, who I don't think did it, and John Hinckley and all these things. But then, dude, speaking of, I forget the fucking guy's name. Who shot Reagan?
Oh.
I can look it up.
It's three names.
They've always got fucking three names.
Oh, god damn it. What is his name? If you wouldn't have asked, I'd been able to remember.
John Hinckley Jr. John Hinckley. John Hinckley Jr. has a music career now. I shit you not.
No, he doesn't.
Dude, I'll pull it up. He's on YouTube. He's on Apple Music. It's wild.
John Hinckley?
Dude, how sick would it be to get like an album signed by that dude? Like, it'd just be wild. It'd be wild. And I liked Reagan's policies, but like the story behind that is wild.
I'd much prefer
There's
to get
no
a black
way
and
he's
white
out of
photo
jail,
of Reagan
right?
being shot and signed by him.
1,000% out of jail.
Really?
Yeah, dude, check this out. Look, I'll just share
they
this
just
with you.
let some motherfucker out that shot it. Fucking.
I need permission to share,
Reagan?
Drew, if you can.
Yeah, it was only Reagan though, so that's fine.
Yeah, they didn't like Reagan, right? Like if this kid would have shot Trump,
they mentioned Iran Contra in this fucking movie, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah,
Iran Contra's rough.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, dude, I'll show you this guy.
Right, you should be right to go.
We won't play his music, obviously, but this is him, dude. Like, he's out, just making music. 52,000 views on this video.
Wow.
Fucking way.
Lonely Dreamer.
Do you think he's just got a take on I Shot the Sheriff?
He is just...
look at the song title.
President.
Super missed opportunity for him to not have a Reagan poster behind him.
No shit. Dude,
that would be amazing.
A Different Side of Me is one of the tracks.
Oh, come on.
Finally Living Free.
It's fine.
Does this send a message that you can try to kill a standing president and your life's going to be relatively okay? This sends a really mixed signal to the rest of the world, does it not?
I mean, dude, for this to get 192,000 views 2 years ago, 107,000 views 3 years ago, this dude is making decent money off of his YouTube, and he shot a president. Like, that's John Hinckley Jr. for you.
There we are. We broke the algorithm to boost our podcast profile. All we have to do is attempt assassination on a U.S. president.
Hey, you said it, not me. I will not be.
And then a few decades later, when you get out of prison, you can make some songs about it.
Yep.
Yeah. What's 40 years?
He should write a book like OJ and have it be like, I almost got away with it.
Dude.
I shot the president.
It's wild, man.
Now I'm a YouTube star.
When I heard, he's an influencer now. Imagine getting a cameo from John Hinckley. Like, hey, John Hinckley Jr., tell my daughter happy birthday. I'll pay you fucking $100. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, I bet you could pay him $100 for that.
I want you to shoot my daughter with a paintball gun as she comes into her birthday.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, like set it up, like reenact the whole Reagan thing. I'll see if he's got an Instagram real quick. While we're kind of bullshitting about him.
Oh,
but we really should have reached out to this guy to be on the panel to break this film down.
Oh, fuck. That would have been amazing. Why didn't we think about that?
Well, it just kind of came up organically, So he's not on Instagram, it would appear. But we'll look for that cameo. We'll see if we can get a cameo. Drew, one day you're just going to wake up and have a fucking... I'll have him do an Australian accent saying something. You just tell me when your birthday is, dude.
Can we just need him saying something cool about Conspiracy Theater 3000?
Yeah.
Like, can we have him do like an ad break?
Like I wouldn't have missed if I was listening to Conspiracy Theater 3000.
Right.
I would have gotten the job done. No, yeah, I mean, this is dark stuff to joke about, obviously. Like it is shitty when people like make light of like an active politician getting shot at. Like, I wouldn't want Harris to get shot or fucking.
Why not?
Because, it's just a bad look.
It's
a bad look for the country.
The talking point he has to have would be, I might have missed Reagan, but Conspiracy Theater 3000 never misses with their breakdowns.
That's it.
There we go. That's a good one.
And I'll never miss an episode of Conspiracy Theater 3000.
Yeah, that's rough, dude. That's a tough sell, but maybe you got to pay him $200 for that.
Oh, it'd be so good. Holy fuck. I got to reach out to this guy and see if I can make this happen.
Well, now you won't forget his name.
Exactly. Never will.
Right. Oh,
beautiful songbird. Yeah, have him sign your tit.
This is American story right there, man.
Yeah, true. Like, they say the American dream's dead. This man came out of jail after assassination attempt on a president, and now he's an influencer.
Makes anything's possible, kids. Probably.
Only in America. My God.
Right. And by the way, fucking Sirhan's still rotting in jail for that RFK. I guess he got it done, though. He did fucking kill Sirhan.
I mean, right.
Kind of wild. Anyway, let's get back to the important
stuff. So our film starts off, no rolling credits, just straight into the film. Big panning shot of Washington, D.C., all the very Greco-Roman monuments to, false gods and whatnot, those depictions that we tend to see. Right. We see our character meet up with his partner, and they drive off and they meet at a dock. And at this point, we don't know his Secret Service. We just know that he's a cop of some description or some kind of law enforcement. He's got his Dirty Harry gun, a little bit of nod to his great films.
Yeah.
And they meet with a man named Marty, who I just noticed is the Jigsaw actor, the serial killer from Saw. Very creepy looking dude. They meet up with him and they're dealing with counterfeit money. And Frank's checking the merchandise and says, "This is good. You got a deal." Meanwhile, his partner's been taken down into the yacht to help out with something.
Looks real good. Oh, we're in business. Excellent. There's just one problem, Frank.
Oh?
You know this guy, Al? He keeps asking me all these questions about my counterfeiter.
Really?
Yeah, he asks me too many questions. Now, my instinct usually tells me when there's something wrong. And there's something wrong here, so I had him followed. He's a fucking Secret Service agent, Frank. What do you think I ought to do here, Frank?
Make sure the body doesn't wash up on shore.
I want you to pop him for me, okay? See, I think maybe you're with him.
Look, you came to me, remember?
So pop him, show me I'm an asshole.
I'm just a businessman.
So pop him. And let's do some business. Yes, Frank. That's what I'm looking for. Come on, let's go get an omelet. You like omelets, Frank? Huh? I know a good place. We'll have chili and cheese. Come on.
Let me get my pistola here. My gun? You're under arrest. And you're under arrest too. Secret Service.
At which point Marty, our criminal, does confess that he had his partner followed and found out that he's Secret Service. And this is wild for me because I had no idea the Secret Service did anything outside of protecting politicians.
Right.
Investigating counterfeit money. That was a new one for me.
Right.
It ensues that he goes down and his partner's tied up, and to try and get his loyalty back, Marty wants Frank to shoot his partner. You got to pop him. He hands him a gun, points it at him, clicks, no round in the chamber. Marty's happy with him now. Let's go get some drinks. Let's go get some food. And they start choking the guy out with a plastic bag over the head, which I think is probably one of the most horrific ways to go. And he's sitting there and he's struggling to breathe and he's dying. He goes, "Oh, just let me grab my pistoli." Hands his gun back. Pops the two guys, blows them away with his, I think he's fucking, what has he got? It's not a stub nose 38, it's a Dirty Harry gun, a 45 or something like that.
Oh, 44 mag, dude? Is it a 44 Magnum?
I think so. He blows them away, kills the two guys, and they arrest Marty for all kinds of counterfeit crime. And it just quickly glosses over that his partner was almost killed. They barely speak about it. He's driving home.
Right.
Just side quest in the movie.
I had the same reaction. I was like, what is this fucking... Why is the Secret Service hunting down fucking counterfeiters? Wouldn't that be like FBI, CIA shit? NSA maybe? But
well, no, I think that was initially what the Secret Service was created for, was to hunt down counterfeit.
Really? Because it's federal?
I swear, I believe, I'll fact check myself, but I think that's what they were initially, their inception was. So, I mean, it lines up. You know, if you said the Secret Service or the CIA was like 100% on board with this movie, like they wouldn't let that fucking go and like be like, dude, this is inaccurate. Cause you know how like all these like veteran types and like these dudes that are all about that life, they like heavily criticize this shit.
I'm community noticing this one.
Yeah. It's like when you call a magazine a clip, you know, people that are all about guns are like, dude, it's not a fucking clip. And, you know, everyone knows what you're talking about at that point. But like, wasn't Malkovich's character also in the CIA? Like he had CIA experience and that's why he's able to do all this shady shit?
Yeah, he was a wet boy, an assassin, apparently.
Yeah, he was a hired hitman. He was a government fucking spook.
Like a mercenary, like Blackwater shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty badass.
This scene, he gets up out of the chair. He's survived, and he turns to Frank and goes, "You knew there wasn't a round in the chamber, right, Frank? You could tell by the weight in your hand, isn't that right, Frank?" And Frank's like, "Oh yeah, sure, whatever. Let's just keep going. Let's go back to the office." They're driving away, and he just goes, "Oh, by the way, we've got some extra cases to look into," and go down to the office. And then this is how the story suddenly goes from counterfeiting and your partner almost being executed by yourself into an investigation about an attempted assassination from a guy who's saying some outlandish shit about a sitting president.
Right. Yeah. His partner is like, "Hey, we got to go look at this thing." And he's like, "Oh, go hug your kids. I'll go check it out." And it's
go kiss your
like,
babies.
There's a lot of useless shit in this fucking movie. Like that counterfeiting scene, the whole fucking love interest scene. Like why was that? That's not. It's just creepy. And
dude, there's probably a lot of Easter eggs. There's probably a ton of Easter eggs in this if we actually like all combed over this with a fine-tooth comb. Because real quick, my question was, what was the Secret Service created for? The counterfeiting of U.S. currency. And the United States Secret Service, one of the nation's oldest federal investigative law enforcement agencies, was founded in 1865 as a branch of the U.S. Treasury Department. And then it was rebranded, apparently, to protect the president. That's why you get these obese women involved with it. But it was originally created to combat counterfeiting of U.S. currency, a serious problem at the time.
Well, there you
go. Little Easter egg. Don't ever tell me that don't ever tell me I'm useless on this show, Drew, like you did last week.
Not entirely useless. You come into bat every now and again.
I'm the pretty face.
You're the talent, man. You're the talent.
Yeah, but interesting though, right? Like you would never think in a million years that was their initial purpose.
Well, you just think it's outside the scope of their purview. Wild.
In
See,
1865, I would have put that start date after 1913.
Ooh.
After the Fed?
Yep.
There you
go. Well, another little thinking point.
I wonder if they protect Federal Reserve heads. Do you think they protect them as well, or just politicians?
I think the Federal Reserve the chair of the Federal Reserve has more power than the president.
Oh, no question. But they're in the same pocket, so it's another figurehead, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. But yeah, the president can come out and say one sentence, and it may or may not make anything change. Chair of the Federal Reserve can come out and say one sentence, and it can make stock markets crash or rise. Like,
yeah, it's done it many times, man.
Yep.
Yeah, when I was day trading, I'd fucking wake up early to watch these old assholes. It was Ben Bernanke that was in charge when I was looking at it. And it was just myself doing it. I wasn't working for a firm or nothing like that. But yeah, man, like people are nervous. Like, what's he going to say? And they called him Big Ben. Like, it's like, dude, this guy's the opposite of Big Ben. Tiny little frail man. But yeah, man, they are powerful people. So I would imagine that they probably get Secret Service detail.
Sure.
On the drive back to the office, his young partner, who's very enthusiastic about his job, says, "I always wanted to be Secret Service because saving people appealed to me." At which Frank turns around and says, "The idea of throwing yourself in front of a gun to take a bullet for a guy you're protecting sounds appealing to you?"
Right.
It's heroic. It's heroic, I think. Right? If there's actually something that you're fighting for, if you believe in the system, it's heroic for sure, I would think.
I don't know that heroic's the right term, but it is brave, maybe?
That's the same. You look up heroic and you say synonyms for heroic, and brave is going to be like the first three.
No way, man.
Ryan, can you bring that up for us?
I'll do it.
Heroic
would
be doing something good. I think protecting a politician, you're not doing anything good.
My God, Bob.
It takes bravery.
Bob, check this out. Heroic synonyms. What's that first one? What's that first one right there? You fucking dick. He's trying to be a contrarian just because I'm not sold on the Trump thing.
Ooh, why do people say Herculean anymore? Instead of saying brave, I'm Herculean. That's a much better word.
Right?
Yeah, dude.
So
Herculean's sick. Yeah, courageous and valiant. Valiant needs to be brought back. Whenever I hear Valiant, I think of Roger Rabbit. Valiant and Valiant, dude. The fucking firm that they worked for.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm derailing this.
That's okay. So they get back to the office. Frank gets the message that's been handed on to him from the department. He goes and checks out this apartment complex, in which he walks in, and the apartment complex manager's telling telling him about all the things that this guy's been doing, weird smells, and she was worried about the smoke, and she went in to check out what it was. She walked in and she found up on the wall this big collage, all like dedicated to the JFK assassination. Like really conspiratorial, like esque type shit. Pictures pasted up everywhere, big red kind of circle around it. And he notices himself in one of the pictures. And this is what ties back to the JFK assassination when he was on his detail. At this point, we see he's standing at the window and he's looking out, scanning kind of the neighborhood. And we see John Malkovich's character, Booth, for the first time. And he's just scoping this guy out, watching him. At which point, Frank leaves and he starts to get tailed by this mysterious man, this shadowy figure.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It makes it confusing when if someone hasn't seen this, when you talk about Malkovich's character, because he goes by a few names, right? Like he's got the different aliases.
Yeah, initially he goes by Booth. So John
Right.
Wilkes Booth. We find
Sure.
this out when he calls Frank for the first time. He contacts him, rings his home, and he starts to develop this really weird pseudo-friendship with Frank. Like, he's the only point of human contact that he has that's genuine when he's playing all these roles. And he says, I'd like you to call me Booth, as in John Wilkes Booth. And he said, what's going on? He said, well, I'm going to kill the president. And he warns him, oh, hang on now. That's a federal offense to threaten the president, even if you don't mean it. You could spend the rest of your life in jail.
Such a dumb line. I heard that. I was like, God damn it, who wrote this fucking script?
Well, isn't that true?
Well, sure, but the guy clearly knows that. I mean, Jesus.
Well, I think he's leading him. Like, he's trying to see how serious he is, right? Like, he's like, well, hey, like, is this a prank caller or is this dude fucking serious?
He's like, fuck, really? I can go to jail? Beep.
Yeah, never mind. I'm going to call it off.
I meant the president of Pepsi.
Prank caller.
Not the president of the United States.
Yeah. That's only a misdemeanor. Yeah, no, murder's a big deal.
Which naturally, that's a law that exists in America, but it seems wild for a country that has freedom of speech. Like, our speech here is completely fucked, but I thought you guys would have had some kind
of... You can have freedom of speech, except the part. Except.
Well, I think that there's a fine line with it, like art. I mean, we saw it so much, and that's another thing that's skeptical about the whole Trump thing, is that how many actors and actresses and shit were, like, threatening his life publicly. You know, like...
Dude, Kathy Griffith held up a fucking severed head of his.
Well, Snoop Dogg shot him in a music video. You know, it was a clown thing and it was a clown gun, but still it's insinuating something. So I think that the freedom of speech threats and all these like federal crimes and stuff regarding that kind of shit, they've massaged those rules a little bit in the era of social media, I think.
Right.
Which is wild.
If you're famous, you can get away with it. If you're someone with 10 followers on, say, Instagram or some kind of Twitter account, you're going to get done. That's the.
If we were talking about
they're gonna dunk and limp your ass.
It's take you to a black site.
Yeah, fucking get Kathy England on you. I think that's her name, right? The girl that was smoking the cigarettes in front of the dudes with their dicks out in Abu Ghraib.
Yeah,
fucking Kathy England. That bitch is wild. But okay, continue.
So he's now got this case that he brings back to his boss, and his boss is named Sam, who I thought was funny. That was the dad from Frasier. Like, all the 90s quintessential actors were on this film.
I said, is that Frasier's dad? Is that fucking Lumberg? Fucking Office Space standing behind him?
If you could not attack the president, that'd be great.
Jeez. By the way, it was Lindy England, not Kathy England. Lindy. We were close.
Poor Kathy out there is like all distraught now because her name's been put through the mud and it wasn't even her.
I know, I pulled it up. It's like just a bunch of like
listener of ours.
Yeah, shout out Kathy. She's a fucking Patreon subscriber.
So this case it hits home for Frank that this guy's talking about things that he's involved in his life, and he's somewhat of a celebrity to Booth. Booth thinks Frank is this person who's akin to him. They're on the same playing field, and he wants him a part of this air quotes game. He keeps calling it. It's the game of trying to kill the president. He wants him a part of it. So Frank has to go out and he has to get himself put on protection detail again. And the only way he gets back on is because he knows Sam, his old buddy. He says, Jesus, Frank, you're 55 years old. You're too old for this. Too old for this
He
shit.
he looks older than 55.
He's like fucking 70 looking. Anyway, he gets him back on the detail, and then we see him in the very first time running alongside the limo with his hands on the car, barely keeping up. Looks like he's going to drop dead of a heart attack. And we see Booth there again. Booth is watching him this entire time. He's more obsessed with Frank than he is actually the president at this part of the film.
Right, which, again, like, I'm sitting there watching this movie, and I'm just like, oh my God. Like, I turned to Kaylee and I said, if he's been in the government this long, and he's a Secret Service agent, and he's done undercover and all of that, shouldn't he know that this dude is obviously obsessed with him? It's calling him all the time and shit. Like, wouldn't you want to get as far away from the president as you should? Because clearly he wants to lump you into this. You're part of this whole thing. And if you're not part of it, it could possibly just fall apart. And I'm going, dude, I'm just some idiot construction worker. Shouldn't you just want to distance yourself from it? And he's like, nope. This guy is obsessed with me. Put me right in front of the president.
I've got to be in the line of fire.
It's like one of those. Sorry, dude. It's like one of those scenes where it's like, I retired. I'm not. I swore this stuff off, and now they're calling me back. It's just kind of funny.
Yeah.
But
he calls himself back.
Yeah.
He's like, I gotta get back in there.
I'm doing it. I'm the only one that can do it. All these young kids can't do it. It's a fucking boomer mentality, isn't it? You're all shit. I'm the greatest generation after the wartime generation, so it's all up to me. I can save the day. They verify this guy's a threat now, and they go back to his apartment. It's completely gutted, except for a single photo of Frank up on the wall. Really solidifies his weird connection and obsession with him. And this is where he finds one of the magazine's New Age Modeler. It's like this, I don't know, little hobby book where people learn how to model cars and all types of small kind of plastic scale things. And we get the first idea of what his plans are, which goes to a scene where Booth is in his little workshop and he's making a plastic resin bullet, and he's gauging the thickness against an actual round, and he's comparing the two, and he's hand filing things and going through all the minutiae of making this perfect bullet. And it goes back to Frank, and he's starting to battle with his demons about never reacting to the first shot with JFK. And he's having these phone calls with Booth all the time about, why didn't you react? You heard the first gunshot, and I watched you. You just stood there. You didn't do anything. You could have run up, and you could have pushed him out of the way and copped the second shot. He could have survived. And Frank never really lets on until later on in the film. And this guy's been watching him for a while. He's talking about how Booth starts to question, I saw your interview back in the day where you let us know that your wife and daughter left you and you have a drinking problem. I was really happy with how open and honest you were, and I respect you for that. And he's trying to develop this rapport with this guy.
Right, he's pulling him into it. Like it's part of his cat and mouse thing, right? Like they have this cat and mouse game where they're constantly getting at each other.
It really seems like they tried to remake Day of the Jackal, but for American audiences before they did the remake. It's like the relationship. It's like the relationship between the investigator and the Jackal assassin. There's just a rebranded American version of this.
Right.
Huh. Well, like it's funny to think, that this dude, Clint Eastwood's character, that he feels like he could have single-handedly stopped this assassination. It's like you must think that you're very fucking important to be able to do that. It's just kind of wild, and it seems unrealistic. But it would be kind of sick if they made like a part 2 to this, like in modern times, more riddled with conspiracy, and Clint Eastwood's character was paid off to not take the bullet the whole time, because the theory is that everyone was in on it with the JFK situation. So, I mean, there's even theories that the driver fucking turned around and shot him, right? Like the whole video's, edited and stuff. So it would be kind of cool if they expanded on this whole thing.
That would make so much sense. It'd make his character development even more twisted because he's done the wrong thing. He knows it and he's lived with it.
Say it, Drew. Dark and twisted.
Dark and twisted. Dark and twisted story.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it would make sense too. Like it would show like he's like schizophrenic, right? Like he's having these internal battles, but you know, thinking that you're big enough to stop this attempt and all this shit, and like just the coping with it. But yeah, nonetheless,
a bit like The Sixth Sense or something. Like it's like a Tyler Durden situation where
he was actually JFK himself.
Well, there was no fucking John Malkovich in this movie. It was Clint Eastwood the whole time.
Yeah, that'd actually be a really good twist.
Yeah,
and he's
like, that's why
from behind.
That's why he never gets caught. It's
right,
like Peter Parker and Spider-Man, dude.
We trace the call; it's coming from inside the house.
Yeah, that'd be dope. So many different endings.
They try to trace. They could. He tries to trace the call multiple times with the full disposal of the Secret Service and government agencies, and they can never get around it. And the first time they do trace it, they bust down the door of some poor African-American couple while they're in bed, and the SWAT team comes in and just throws them to the ground. He's like redirected the line to some other location. And we find out this guy's a bit more savvy. He knows what he's doing. He's got inside understanding of government operations and intelligence, and he's able to redirect these calls, and he's blocking. So much to the point he's deliberately using old-time lines instead of the digital updated versions, which could be easily tracked.
Smart.
Right. Well, and then at some point in time, like they're doing their investigation, right? And they see him, and he's like, that's fucking him. And he starts chasing, like he had never seen him before, but he just knows. He just knows that's our fucking guy. And he starts chasing after him. And he gets hit by that car. And he's like, buddy, I gotta fucking impound your car. And that dude's like, God damn it. Fuck, I was just trying to go to work. And they get his fingerprint, and his fingerprint ends up like classified, not like empty. It's classified. That's when you start to go, wait a minute. There's something else here, because now they're not telling the Secret Service this very important piece of information.
Oh, it's come back as C-12. We can't tell them anything.
Yeah, dude, it would be like, to your point earlier, like he's the same guy, it just matches his fucking fingerprint. It'd be sweet. We could make a better movie, probably.
Yeah. I was the whole time, because it was basically like watching the movie for the first time again. The whole time I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be great if that fingerprint was Clint Eastwood's?
Fuck yeah.
Fucking so good.
And then he has to go and like cover for this guy. It'd be awesome. We need to make a movie. We'll crowdsource a movie. We'll just star in it. That'd be dope.
We can do it.
Drew's like masterminding some fucking plot to kill the president from Australia, and we're like the assassin people. Maybe Bob's the president even. Be pretty wild.
Boss
you might have to
president.
shave. Yeah, it'd be sick, dude.
I could pull off president.
Yeah, you could pull shit like that, I'm sure.
Yeah, man, I got 5 kids. I could have fucking extras. You know, like anytime we need an extra.
Stunt doubles and shit?
Yeah, dude.
And just mirror them like 50 times to make the crowd look bigger. Jeez, all these people look alike.
Right. I mean, Kamala does it.
It's like, it's a Harris campaign. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's funny. There's a conversation in this when he's speaking with Lily, the female agent, who he's made a lot of sexual comments towards. He says to her, your job role is essentially window dressing. There's over 5,000 Secret Service agents and only 125 are female. The funny part about this is this was pre-dating DEI, like diversity, equity, inclusion, and it's being put on display.
He's got a point.
Silver screen. It's so true. It's so true.
He's got a point.
Wildly fucking misogynistic and just inappropriate. Like the whole time I'm like, holy shit, she should fucking call HR. And he's not even like Clint Eastwood's so old. Like he's so old at this point, like it's just creepy. Their age difference, like the actual actor's age difference, was fucking 24 years. You know, and it's like, dude, this is just desperate and creepy, man.
Yeah, we're referring to Rene Russo here, right? Rene Russo versus Clint Eastwood. Yeah,
Right.
dude. The DEI stuff is wild, and it's interesting that it was highlighted back then, and no one would have thought. I mean, I'm sure most people didn't really think too much about that at the time in the 90s, right? Like, obviously, Bob, looking at it through the lens today, you can see how fucked up that is to say that kind of stuff to a woman in the workplace. But like, dude, back then it was bulls on parade with like just harassment in the workplace, dude, like straight up. But
yeah. HR departments weren't nearly as flooded with shit back then.
And let's just be honest, the women were tougher. They had thicker skin, right? They weren't fucking running, trying to get attention and shit. But, you know, I'm not a victim blamer.
This film has been flagged by a lot of socialists online as being toxic masculinity and misogyny on crack. Not only for his comments as an older white man towards female workers, but the scene where John Malkovich goes to the bank and opens up a new account under one of his personas, and he gets caught out in a lie. And he follows this bank teller back to her house and says, "I'm sorry, I had to follow you home because I'm new in town. I don't know how to do this. Would you like to go out for dinner?" She's like, "Oh, okay, come in the house." And her roommate comes out and he's like, "Sorry, ladies, can't let you leave." And he brutally murders the fuck out of them. Smashes her against the glass window, snaps her neck, goes to the other one, snaps her neck. So much so that the Australian and British versions of this film cut those out.
Yeah.
And the only way you can get that version is on Blu-ray in Australia.
Dude, that's not toxic masculinity, though. That's fucking psychosis, right?
Yeah,
like
but, that's
right.
the delineation that these people make, is that a film which is completely not real and made up characters, that's going to promote that. I haven't seen a spike in neck snappings of women since that film came out. So
exactly. Well, dude, like, as a man, a straight man, dude, I see so many women when I go to the grocery store. I'm like, damn, I would love to fuck her. You know what I mean? Like, I think that in my head, but you don't act on it. Like, and if I saw someone do that in a movie, it doesn't like increase my odds of doing that. You can have thoughts in your head. Like, I've thought about fucking killing people that piss me off, but I don't do it. I'm not even close to doing it. But you just have those thoughts. They cross your head. Someone fucking flips you off in traffic. You're like, I can follow you home. I have a gun in my car, you know? But no one, like, having those thoughts just makes you human, dude. It doesn't, like, it's crazy that the left will do that, right? And the right does their own goofy shit, but it's just nuts that they see something in a fucking movie and then they're gonna blame that on toxic masculinity. It's just nuts, dude.
It's like anytime you see a tow truck and it's got the tilt tray tilted down like that, like a ramp, and you're in your car thinking, I could launch off that like GTA, but I won't.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, you can take that anywhere. You can go anywhere with it. Obviously, you know, I took it to violence because that's kind of what we're talking about. But yeah, just any crazy thought that you have in your head that you don't act on, it just makes you fucking human, man. It's crazy that they'll go that far.
So our story progresses now. We've got Booth and Frank building up this relationship. He's starting to find out more about each other while Frank is trying to stir up a sexual relationship with Lily. This is where we see they hook up for the first time. And I thought it was a fucking comedy at some point because the amount of shit dropping from them was like something out of Naked Gun. Guns, silencers, tasers, radios.
Fucking Kaylee was like, I didn't know this was a romantic comedy. Yeah, pretty much. It's not a serious movie.
It even gets to the point where they get onto the bed and they're starting to do the business, and she gets a phone call and she's like, "Oh, what am I doing? We've got to go leave now, blah, blah, blah." And he's like, "Oh, damn, I got to put all that shit back on."
Right.
It's like they forgot the type of film they were making halfway through.
Right, and he still had his fucking pants and shirt on. Like, how much did you actually take off? Your Secret Service. It's not like you had to take off like 17 layers of shit. Took off what, a gun?
Suspenders? Maybe.
Maybe. Damn. He still had his pants on. Like, he didn't take off that much.
Dude, that's my favorite. Man. That's my favorite thing in movies, like the sex scenes where they're like doing it under the covers and stuff. It's like, dude, no one does that, but whatever.
Right. Well, they also like sleep in nightgowns and shit, and it's like,
yeah.
I don't know anybody that puts on fucking pajamas before they go to bed.
Really? You struck me as a guy that wears a teddy bob. Something lacy.
Well, I mean, only
the butt flap.
Only if I think, I might have to get out of bed.
Or like when a girl dies naked in like this, CSA or CSI movies and stuff, like where like they're like this dead instead of like freaking wide open. Like you don't die curled up like a spider, dude. You're flopped out. It's wild to me, but it is what it is, I guess. Can't get any free tits
Hollywood.
on American TV.
Right.
This is where Frankie's, and this is what I really hate. This has to be fact checked. Frank is standing out in the rain on one of his protection details, and it's the rain that gives him the flu.
Ooh.
Right.
I've never been outside cold, wet, and then got sick from something that way. That is the biggest
Might have been
bullshit
COVID.
I've ever seen. Might have been COVID.
Could have
He
been
got
COVID,
the first
dude.
case of COVID.
Yeah, you thought it came from a bat. It came from fucking Frank.
Eastwood.
Yeah.
You just got the flu, fucking Fraser's dad says.
Yeah, nothing's gonna fix that.
While
like
sitting
a
next
bottle of
to
scotch.
him. Right, while sitting right next to him.
We've got more conversations between Booth and Frank now. And this is where we start to see Booth become unhinged and he starts to let out more than he really should be. He says, it was a different country, God damn it. I was different. Everything was different than it is today. If I was only half as paranoid back then as I am today, maybe I could have prevented what happened. And they're screaming and kind of really going at each other. Frank's clearly hung up on not being able to protect the president back in the day. He can't move on. While at the same time, Booth is completely disenfranchised by the amount of evil shit he's had to do in his career. To only be thanked by the government sending his workmate and colleague to assassinate him himself. And that's what the catalyst for his kind of operation against the US and the president is. He thinks he's getting revenge for all of the things that the government have done to him over time.
I mean, I get it.
So did I. Like, that's the thing. I watched this film growing up and I identified with the very patriotic guy trying to do his duty and everything like that. But today, I understand the assassin more than anyone else.
I think he's the most patriotic and heroic person in this movie.
Maybe like an anti-hero, right?
Yeah. He's the original Deadpool.
Yeah,
Real
exactly.
hero.
Took the words out of my mouth.
This is where they finally get the CIA. They've hit some clues with the modeling magazine. They've chased up some names, a professor in design, and they get a name for someone in Phoenix. And they go into his apartment, and they're confronted by a man with a gun who turns out to be a CIA agent, who says that Booth was actually one of the operatives for the CIA called a wet boy, essentially an assassin. At which point they're starting to get the details now. They know what this guy's fully capable of. And it cuts away to Booth and his testing of the plastic gun. And he's sitting out in the middle of nowhere and he's shooting some model boats on the water.
Was that you shooting? Yes. What the hell kind of gun is that? Something I made. No kidding?
You made it? Guess he's paying for it, huh? Can I see it? Yeah. Shit, it's light.
Yeah?
It's light. What's it made of?
It's composite, like plastic.
It's pretty neat. You, mind if I give her a little dance?
Not at all. Go for it.
Oh, right. That is great. That is really great. You, wouldn't be interested in selling her, would you?
No, I need it. For what? To assassinate the president.
What'd you want to do that for, mister?
Why did you kill that bird, asshole?
And two rednecks run out of the bush with some rifles, and they're like, "Was that you who just fired that gun?" He's like, "Yes, it was." "Is that yours? What is that?" "It's my gun. I made it." He goes, "Oh, can I have a look?" And he hands him the gun. He's like, "Oh, it's so light." can I have a go? And by all means, go. And he shoots the duck. And he's like, oh, how much do you want for it? Can I have it? And he goes, oh, no, I can't sell it. I need it to kill the president. Oh, why would you do that, mister? This really weird exchange, right?
Yeah, and he's like, why'd you kill that duck, asshole? And he fucking shoots him.
Yeah, the duck's not taking away your freedoms. Yeah, it is a strange little exchange there for sure. I mean, a lot of to Bob's point, I think a lot of the interactions between characters seem forced, right?
Very much so.
Maybe the acting wasn't the best. They blew their load on Eastwood and Russo and Malkovich and stuff, but there's not much star power in this other than them. Right. Gary Cole, I guess.
Dude, this movie, side note, guess how much it made in the box office?
How much?
Just a wild guess.
Oh, God.
I can pull it up. I got it. I know.
I already know.
What it make?
I'm going to guess $100 million.
$176 million.
What? For the 90s,
off a $40 million budget. I'm seeing 187, same. But yeah, $40 million budget. So they basically 3x their profit, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of wild. With someone like Eastwood behind it, it's interesting. But I think that I didn't get why Bob was hating on it so much, and I think it's a good story. But yeah, the interactions do seem a little forced.
Yeah, the premise of it makes sense. I think that looking back in hindsight now, a lot of the conversations and the messaging that's trying to be pushed across is it's very pro-establishment and completely obfuscates the issues that are going on. Like Booth, right. our killer, Leary, he points out a lot of the major issues that have happened to America. He kind of lives in this bygone area of 1960s America in which everything was, for lack of a better word, perfect. The economy was doing great. Society was all right. And it's just degenerated over time. And for his efforts for his country, they decide to help him by getting him offed by his best friend. And he sees that as the ultimate failure in his country. And he feels like he has a need to do something about it.
Did something about it. Just to pound home a little bit more of the, the quality of the movie. Nominated for 3 Academy Awards. Didn't take any of them. And nominated for 3 BAFTA awards as well. BAFTA's a British thing, ones. I guess. Yeah, and they did not win any.
When I told my wife that this was a big time, blockbuster movie of its day, she was like, "No way!" And I was like, "This was fucking Clint Eastwood has had probably the longest prime period of any actor because."
He's an old badass. Yeah.
He was a huge fucking actor for 30 years, man. He was a fucking massive actor for a very long time. At this point, in 93 when this movie came out, at this point, he had been an actor for fucking since the 60s.
Yeah. The silent film era.
Fucking big time shit.
He's still, I would argue he's still big. He's still big.
That's what I'm saying is at the time he had been a big time actor for 20 plus years.
Right.
And so, he was a big guy to have in your movie. If you got Clint Eastwood, you were guaranteed ticket sales.
Mm.
I wonder if this movie would have been better if they incorporated the orangutan from Every Which Way But Loose. And that could have been the partner instead.
Dude, I saw that movie cross my freaking Amazon the other day and was like, God damn, I haven't seen that movie in forever. Those are solid Clint Eastwood movies.
Can we please
Any Which Way But Loose, and what is the other one? Any Which Way But something else. There's 2 of them. There's Any Which Way But Loose, and then the sequel.
We need to petition someone who's good with AI to superimpose the orangutan over the partner in the film. And just make it out like no one notices. That'd be so good.
Dude, you should do that for your fucking cover for this one.
Writing that down.
Do the same, do the scene with Clint Eastwood walking, but instead of on the cover where he's walking along, it looks like JFK's car or whatever, and do the monkey, and then put us one of us driving, one of us behind, one of us is the shooter. It'd be sick.
What a plan. So our character's got this realization now that he's not going to stop. He's he's going to kill the president because all the things he said has happened to him. He says to him, "You're alive because I allow you to live," and he slams down the phone on Frank. And they trace the call.
Show me some fucking respect.
Yeah, show me some fucking respect. They trace the call this time. Frank and his partner, they both see him leaving the location, so they chase him down on foot with no backup for like the fucking second time. And there's this rooftop chase scene. Rooftop chase scene. His partner lags behind, is so slow he doesn't catch up until the very end when we see Frank try to leap over and jump to the building. He gets stuck on the ledge. He can't pull himself up. He's just not strong enough. At which point Booth, or Leary, leans over the edge and goes, "Give me a hand, Frank. I can save your life. Or you can kill me now and save the president. What's it going to be?"
Take my hand, Frank. Take it. You don't, you'll die. Take it. You gonna shoot me, Frank, after I saved your life? Shit. The only way to save the president is to shoot me. Are you willing to do that, to trade your life for his? Or is life too precious?
At which point, Frank pulls his gun out, points it at him, and John Malkovich just deep throats the end of the gun, which wasn't scripted at all, and they had to edit out the laughing on that scene.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. So he's got the gun in his mouth. His partner then finally arrives on the scene. He points the gun at him. He's like, "Freeze!" He throws Frank over onto a stairwell area. And he's like, "I got him, Frank. I got him." And he's celebrating too early, at which point Booth pulls a gun up, shoots his partner, kills him dead. Even to the point where he's slumping over the edge, looking at Frank still alive, and Booth puts another round into him just to be sure, to send that message home to Frank. And this guy was going to retire,
You're a Secret Service agent, and you unload 3 fucking shots in point-blank range, and you didn't hit your fucking target a single goddamn time? Not once? Fuck.
I mean, that holds up today, though. It holds up today with the Secret Service that we see. You know what I mean?
I guess they're better at chasing down counterfeiters than they are at fucking spending too much time looking at counterfeit money and not enough time at the gun range.
That's what it is.
A pistol. Just
they can point out a fake 20 like a motherfucker, though.
Right? Shit's a fugazi.
So now we're finally set up with the final showdown. He lets loose that he's going to take the president out in California, but doesn't give him the details at which kind of conference it's going to be at. So they start really bumping up the security everywhere they go. And you see this kind of weird little montage where they're putting snipers on multiple rooftops. They're covering up manholes. They're removing post office boxes from around the streets. They're putting cars everywhere. They're making sure that all the police uniforms are accounted for in California and that none have been stolen. Really upping their game trying to prevent this. All at the same time, we see Booth just pulling apart his gun, putting it back together when he's not looking at it. And he's getting ready, putting on his makeup, his disguise, which holds up. Like the level of like plastic prosthetics he's using, if you were to walk past someone down the street today, you wouldn't notice because things have only got better since then.
Right. Which of all the disguises that he could have, he puts on like the one that looks just almost like him. Like it's so close to him. Like he could have done all this other shit.
He puts on those glasses with the nose and the mustache, you know, those big.
Yeah, pretty much.
And just walks through, throws a baseball hat on.
Well, his disguise was Jewish. His disguise was Jewish John Malkovich. He just put a big nose on. That was it.
Yeah. Dude, I love those disguises, man. It's funny. Every time I see them, they make me laugh. The fucking glasses and nose.
Like you mentioned earlier, Bob, the NSA and all the government agencies, Secret Service, they're doing that kind of filter that shows all the multiple disguises. And people got these little cue cards to show what he could possibly look like. In the scene where he's in full disguise walking into the conference, there's an agent named Agent Chavez, and he's going through the photos, and he's looking down, looking up. and he pulls out the photo of him, looks directly at him, doesn't notice it's him, while a certain song is playing. The song that is playing in the background is "I Only Have Eyes for You," as that is playing.
Well, and so the little rewind here. He has been sending checks this whole time to like some right-wing fucking super PAC shit, right? And so through doing that, his alias Jim Carney or whatever has gotten a seat at this $10,000 a plate presidential dinner, right? And then so that's how he's been playing the long game. He's been sending money to this fucking place, and fucking he gets in. He gets to go sit in. And so he's entering as this alias that's James Carney, that's been this big donator of the campaign.
What a good name, Carney. That's not at all on the nose either. Comes in,
performer.
grifts them all, pretends to be a kind of big tech mogul, which is a good choice because people ask him what he does. He says, I wouldn't assume to bore you with technology. It's very... It's
and in 93, it was very much like, oh, you're a fucking computer nerd.
Yeah. And no one understood it back then either.
That's the way we thought about it back then, man. Fucking nerd.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you talk about sports or something, people want to hear about it. But yeah, back then, for sure, dude. No one gives a fuck about technology, man. Which is wild.
At this point, Frank's actually been taken off protection detail because he roughed up one of the bellboys at the hotel, and he was caught live on television. He was removed from the case. He was driving back towards the office when something clicks for him. He puts two pieces together and he figures out one of the names. So he goes back, he drives in, and as Malkovich, Leary is putting together his gun under the table and putting bullets in it and whatnot, we see he gets the seating arrangement and he's looking for the name and he finds it. He finds the name, Carney, and he's looking for him, at which point he's standing there with a little napkin over the gun. He's only a few feet away from shooting the president. And he screams gun, he does the whole heroic thing and runs forward. Malkovich raises his gun, fires a shot. He jumps in the way, takes a bullet for the president for once. This is kind of like his shining moment where he finally takes one for the good guys, supposedly. At which point the president gets dogpiled on, like we didn't see at the actual assassination. They all pile on him. They drag him out, get him in a car, piss him off. He's gone. He's out of there. Meanwhile, Frank's on the ground with a busted rib, and Malkovich turns around, shoots another agent, and then takes Frank hostage.
Yeah, and this is where, like, he drags him into an elevator, right? Like, so he pulls him into this elevator and he smashes all the lights, right? And they're having their little exchange where he's, Malkovich is telling him everything.
Do you believe in the nobility of suicide?
No. But if you want to blow your goddamn head off, go ahead. Be my guest.
Nicely put, Frank. Except, you see, I don't want to leave this miserable world alone.
West Tower, do you have a shot?
Negative. Too dark. Target unclear.
It's better to die with a friend, don't you think, Frank?
Friend? You're a damn killer, you sick bastard.
Don't talk to me like that. I saved your life. You owe me.
I don't owe you shit.
I was always honest and fair with you.
Go ahead and shoot.
Go ahead.
It's Frank.
Quiet! Quiet!
Come on, damn it.
Frank, are you talking to me?
Well, what are you waiting for?
What am I waiting for? I'm waiting for you to show me some goddamn gratitude. Without me, you'd still just be another sad-eyed piano-playing drunk. I brought you into this game. I let you keep up with me. I made you a goddamn hero today.
You didn't make me anything.
I redeemed your pathetic, shitty life.
I just did my job. You're the one with the fucking pathetic life. Go ahead and shoot, damn it.
They can't see inside. If they fire, you'll be hit.
I want you to thank me first, Frank.
Shut up and shoot.
All right, Frank.
All right, Frank.
Shooters, stand by to fire. Wait for my command.
Sleep well, my friend.
Just one thing. Aim high.
What?
Aim high.
Now.
Fire.
You bastard!
and you see like the snipers on the roof that are getting ready to shoot this fucking elevator, but all the light bulbs are out. And they're like, it's pitch black in there. I can't fucking see anything. I can't see. But then it cuts to them in the fucking elevator, and he's wearing a white shirt. It's well lit in there.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it's like, man, y'all could have tried just like a little harder. Just a little harder. But they had to do it because it was the whole scene where he's like, he's actually talking to them in his ear and not to, fucking Leary. He's telling them to go ahead and shoot, and fucking Leary thinks he's talking to him when he's talking to everybody else, and he's like, just remember, aim high. And they fucking shoot, and all those assholes miss, and all they do is fucking break the goddamn windows in the elevator, and then they get into a fisticuff fight. And I've always thought that Clint Eastwood punches real weird. Like, he's like, meh. He's like Rock'em Sock'em fucking robots when he punches. He punches him and he fucking falls out. And then you see the reverse situation where Clint Eastwood is actually reaching his hand out to get Leary, and he's like,
take my hand. If you don't, you'll die.
You want to save me, Frank?
To be honest and fair with you, no. But it's my job.
You're going to die if you don't. He uses even the same line. You're going to die if you don't grab my hand. And of course, he's like, fucking suck a dick, and fucking dives off of there and fucking falls to what probably wouldn't be a deadly fall. He probably just would have broken his spine. And,
when you're 80, it's a tough fall.
Well, Malkovich was probably like in his mid 30s, maybe 40 at this time. Maybe 40.
That's true.
Yeah,
I always think of him as being old, but yeah, you're right.
And so, it would have hurt, but I don't think he would have died. It's the Secret Service, the people that shot at him they missed. So it's not like he fell with a gunshot wound. Right. The fucking sequel that we would put together for this is Malkovich lives and then goes and kills Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Would he be
but
paralyzed
for some
from
reason
the neck down or the waist down?
In a wheelchair. He goes and steals the wheelchair that he bought for that one fucking dude.
He becomes Professor X.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty sick. Like, if, he dies. For whatever reason, the ambulance, like no paramedics come get him. They just leave his body there, and he just wakes up and walks off. That'd be awesome.
That would fit everybody thinks he's dead, so they're busy doing other things.
Oh, it'd be even better.
Like, all right.
They're putting like the body of Malkovich right onto a stretcher, and they go, yeah, he's dead. They put the sheet over, and then as the paramedics closing the doors, he looks up and it's Malkovich in another disguise, and he's just that'd be a better.
That's it.
That's the fucking movie right there. Cut to black.
Yes,
like fucking
Man Still on Fire. That's the name of the
such
sequel.
a better goddamn movie because the ending of this movie was very fucking disappointing. Like, you see that, and then like you see fucking Rene Russo and Clint Eastwood going into his little shit apartment, which he's been a Secret Service agent at this point for like 600 years, and you're in like a studio fucking apartment. Like, come on. But he walks in and he rewinds his answering machine, which was a thing back then for you young guys. It was a box that was in the house that recorded messages for anybody that was born after like 98.
It captured people's souls. That's why they recorded voices back to people.
Right. And he gets a message from Leary where he's like, hey, if you got this, then I'm dead and the president's probably dead. And who shot me? Was it you? And he's just like, fuck this shit. And they just walk out. Like, and that's basically the end of the movie. And I was like, well, that was anticlimactic. I mean, like, there's no fucking awesome final scene like John Malkovich fucking closing the ambulance doors. That would have been fucking I would have loved to seen alternate endings for this movie.
It could have been so
That'd be
much better.
interesting.
It would have been great, even if, like what Ryan said earlier, that Frank was actually in on the assassination of JFK, and only by saving the current president, he had to disclose what he did, and he gets arrested at the very end. And it blows the lid off the JFK assassination. That would have been a good ending as well.
Yeah, Malkovich, like, secretly, this was all to get him, to expose fucking him as in on the fucking JFK case. And so you see Malkovich close the ambulance doors, but then it cuts to him and Rene Russo in his apartment, and then it shows like the FBI agents like getting a letter with all this information about him, and they raid his shit and fuck him up and take him away. Fade to black. Fucking way better movie.
It's all in the ending. The first 20 minutes and then the ending was what makes a movie.
Well, the first 20 minutes were absolute nonsense in this fucking movie, except for that it harkened to what the fucking Secret Service was created for and probably doesn't do anymore. Like,
right.
It's just like, it was such a pointless scene. His fucking bitch-ass fucking partner's all crying in the car, but I don't... He's fucking crying. Like,
who was that actor? Was that the guy from, like, The Practice or some shit? I'm pretty sure he was in a show
he
where
was
he
in
was a lawyer.
something. Yeah, I didn't look him up. But he's somebody, he's a known actor. I can say that.
Probably a nobody now, because I haven't seen him in anything.
Yeah.
It still amazes me that you can look back at these films 10, 15 years after not watching them and you have a completely different outlook just because of the passage of time. Like, I look at this film now and it looks like a boomer propaganda piece. John Malkovich's character is noticeably younger than him. He's probably would have been equivalent to the age of a son for him in a lot of ways. And it's almost like the boomer generation is really sticking it to that younger generation that they can't do anything. They're all degenerates. They're bad guys. The boomer can save the world. He's running along the presidential limousine. He's doing all the things young guys are doing, but better. He's smarter than the trained serial killer. Somehow he's better than everyone. It's just the typical boomer waffin approach to this film.
Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of Clint Eastwood's movies are kind of vanity pieces too. Like, they're like about how great he is.
Right. I told my wife, I said, he was the original fucking Adam Sandler.
Dude,
Adam Sandler's movies are the same way, where he's the fucking hero. He gets
got
the
a hot
chick.
wife.
Yeah.
The hottest wives. He was with Selma Hayek in one movie. It's like, dude, there's no way. Jennifer Aniston in another. I don't think she's that hot, but she's definitely attractive. Like, just endless. And then, like, freaking even going back to Billy Madison with that hot chick that played Sonya Blade in Mortal Kombat.
Veronica Vaughn.
Veronica Vaughn, dude.
Well, this is another hindsight issue. I went back and watched Billy Madison the other day, and I thought to myself, this was the best movie when I was a kid. And I'm watching it now. Where's the appeal? Because all his characters in his early films, for comedic effect, did this.
Yeah.
With his fingers and stuff.
Yeah.
That was it. That's the appeal.
Yeah, well, that
really
came from his Saturday Night Live shit and his comedy albums and everything. That's how he got famous. Fun fact, okay, Veronica Vaughn, that actress, was married to a pro tennis player by the name of Pete Sampras.
I thought you were going to say Clint Eastwood.
She gave up acting because of it, didn't she?
Mm-hmm. She didn't have to. Pete Sampras was worth like hundreds of millions of dollars, dude. He was like the number one tennis player for decades.
Good for her. Shit.
Yeah.
She got
I'd marry that dude.
Gay!
Yeah. Crazy. Good for her.
Yeah. So
she was badass in Mortal Kombat, man.
Yeah, she was hot.
Loved her as Sonya Blade.
So, are we gonna do what? JFK's and
it's gotta be rifles.
and dirty hairy guns.
Rifles and counterfeit bills.
Yes, good idea.
All right.
So rifles would be just as a film, I'd say, and then counterfeit bills would be the conspiracy, maybe. Rating on
Sure. Yeah.
I want to go to you guys. Bob, as a film, how many rifles out of 10 would you give this?
It's going to be low.
1.5.
Brutal. Call Clint Eastwood.
It was so fucking bad. It was so bad. And it makes me just want to revisit a lot of Clint Eastwood movies that I loved as a kid and be like, were any of them all really that good? Like,
Gran Torino's great.
Gran Torino's a fucking rad movie. It's... Yeah, I would say 1.5, and I'm being probably generous.
Wow.
My wife and I both were like, well, we're not getting that 2 hours back.
Sorry,
Christ, that sucked. Shit. And Kaylee goes, now you're going to do a podcast about this shit movie?
Hey, it's relevant for the times.
And I was like,
relevant for the times.
Fucking A.
So technically it's like 5 hours you're not getting back, just saying.
Yeah, I did the calculation in my head after that. And as far as counterfeit notes, I'm good. That one's gonna probably be, man, not very many. There's not anything really esoteric, I think. Everything's pretty on its face. Everything's, the Secret Service is, there to protect you. Very statist propaganda nonsense. So I'd say maybe 4. And again, I think I'm being generous. If y'all have any deeper cuts than that, I don't think they got really deep on, the hidden conspiracy shit until probably post 2000.
Ryan, what about you?
But that said, I think Clint Eastwood did a good job. I think John Malkovich did a good job. I think the problem was just the movie itself. What about
Renee Russo?
I've never liked her as an actress, really. I don't think she's very good. I mean,
I'm kidding. Her role wasn't
best
that big,
movie is the Thomas Crown Affair is really good with her in it. But yeah, I mean, I think Clint Eastwood did his Clint Eastwood thing, and John Malkovich did his John Malkovich thing. They are not why the movie is bad.
It's almost as if they got a really good set of actors to play the role, but then the mechanisms around it weren't there. It's like giving 2 skilled laborers a spoon to put a fence together, and then wondering why the fence looks like shit.
Right.
Fair. Yeah, man. Rifles for me, this is the movie overall. I don't think it's as bad as Bob said. It is definitely, it has that 90s vibe to it. What other movies came out in 1993? Jurassic Park. Let's see some good movies.
Literally everything was better than
93 was a big year for films.
Best films. Yeah, I'm sure it was. And, I was 2 years old at this point.
The Pelican Brief.
Jesus Christ. My wife was
Rudy?
bored.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, banger. Tombstone came out.
Dude, Nightmare Before Christmas came out. That's a classic.
Dude,
I don't care what anyone
Coneheads,
says.
Cool Runnings. Wayne's
Tombstone
World,
is arguably the best Western movie of all time.
Yeah. Tombstone's nice.
The Last Action Hero.
You guys, the Sister
I've
Act.
been wanting to watch that with my oldest son.
The Sister Act 2 featuring Whoopi Goldberg came in.
I know that's your favorite movie, man.
Dennis the Menace.
Solid.
I want a picture of Ryan Dean with a Sister Act 2 fucking t-shirt. He's so good. I'm getting you
with
one.
blackface.
I'm gonna find
Hey,
one.
Men in Tights came out too. Robin Hood.
Oh, did
Robin Hood, Men in Tights. Groundhog Day.
Mel
Adam's
Brooks'
Family
worst
Values.
movie.
Yeah, tons of great movies
Groundhog's
came
Day.
out.
Holy shit.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Falling Down came out that year.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape is actually a really fucking good movie.
Yeah. Dude, there's this scene in American Dad where there's 2 squirrels that are reenacting the scene. It's just like a side thing. There's squirrels
up
reenacting
on the water
the scene.
tower.
So good.
What?
The water tower scene?
Match in the gas tank. Boom, boom.
Well, no, I don't think it's not the water tower scene. It's when the mom dies, the obese mom dies, and there's this just giant fat squirrel that's these 2 squirrels' moms, and there's one normal squirrel, the Gilbert Grape one, and then there's the retarded squirrel, and he's he's fidgety and he's got Down syndrome, and it's just so funny, dude. And one day the squirrels go home and see their mom dead, and the retarded squirrel's trying to wake up his mom. Dude, it's so sad.
Mama,
but it's
you're
hilarious.
hiding, huh? You're hiding from art.
Yeah, he's like, Mom's making a joke on Ani. I get that. Like, just so funny, dude. And they end up doing the whole thing. These squirrels jump on the back of a truck, and then they go to a new town. It's so fucking funny.
And they burn the bird feeder house to the ground, just like they burn the house in the real film.
Yeah, well, they burned the tree down. Their tree burned down, and they just left the dead mom to die in the fucking house. Wild. It's pretty funny what they get away with. But yeah, a lot of good movies came out in '93. I don't think this was anywhere near the top, but I'll give it 4.5 Rivals. I think this easily could have been an 8 or a 9. If they did it right. It just seemed like they cut some corners. Some of those interactions were forced, like we talked about a little bit. But yeah,
we just need to be Hollywood advisors. I mean, why aren't they talking to us about this? I mean, we could clearly help them make better movies.
We are the everymen.
Right.
We're the everymen that Hollywood needs. We're not waking up in silk sheets.
We're the focus group they need.
Yeah,
Film needs more orangutans.
Help me help you.
That's just Drew's pitch in every movie. Is like, where can we incorporate an orangutan?
Man, I watched this really good movie last night. Did it have an orangutan in it?
That's not a good movie.
It's like Cartman when he creates that awesome fucking robot, and like all the movies just star Adam Sandler. Like, all right, Adam Sandler is so and so. He comes up with 100 movie ideas. So this four rifles in this one could have been 8 if they did it right. Conspiracies, I'll go a 5. 5, I think, maybe a 5.5 for the counterfeit notes, just because I think it's timely. I think it's a good choice to do. Obviously, it's tough for us all to meet up. It would have been sweet to do this right after the assassination attempt on Trump, but you get what you get. You got one guy on the other side of the country. Bob's very busy. I forget things very quickly, so we can't all meet up all the time. And this is a timely movie in my opinion. See, that's why I give it 5.5, something like that. For Conspiracy. Drew, what do you got?
For Rifles as a film, I'd probably give it a 3. I'm really disappointed by my own memory of how good this film I thought it was. It's not really. Going back and watching it, I was deceived. Like you guys have already said, they had some A-list actors in this. The storyline on paper seems like it'd be a great film, but just wasn't executed very well. Could have had a couple of twist endings or storyline plot holes that really could have driven it home. As a conspiracy film, I think it's probably a 5, just purely based on the propaganda it pushes about the state, and the state being the one that can save you, that it can do no wrong despite training and brainwashing people to be serial killers for the state, who ultimately get chewed up and spat out by the system. Kind of just obfuscates the harsh reality that like the Five Eyes nations and intelligence apparatus of the world really are. And yeah, it puts it in that whole boomer waffin approach that everyone can do wrong but the boomers, and they're just the ones to save everyone. Very, very strange film. Conspiracy wasn't as over the top as some of our previous films have been with the occult messaging and the real hidden Easter eggs. This one was just more political propaganda than anything else.
Yeah, I agree.
Should we just do political movies from here until the election?
We could.
If we do one, we gotta do Election with Reese Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon. See, I was thinking Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah,
that's the one with Denzel.
Yeah, and there's an original.
Is Denzel in that?
Yeah, it's a remake.
It's a better one.
It's Liev Schreiber.
Is
the Manchurian Candidate, and then
Denzel is the
I was reminded of another awesome government movie, which is Enemy of the State.
Oh, that's a good one. Could we do the 1993 romantic comedy Dave, where a presidential lookalike gets brought in because the president has a heart attack?
That's a good one too. That's actually I love Kevin Kline. Like, I think he's fucking great, and I used to love that movie when I was a kid.
It'd be cool to do something like Wag the Dog, but it's been talked about and seen so much in like these kind of people that listen to our show. So I feel like, it's kind of a waste of time to do something like Wag the Dog. But I'm open to like either the funny ones, like even the fucking the one with Zach Galifianakis and Will Ferrell. I forget the name of that movie. Because we haven't done any comedies really.
No, we haven't. That would be a good one. What's it called? Election or President something or other?
Let me say. Political movie with Will Ferrell.
What's the one where like it's not Jared
the campaign?
Leto,
The campaign.
The campaign. What's the one with like Seth Rogen and what's his name that go over to like fucking China as diplomats or some shit?
Oh yeah. In North Korea.
Yeah, it's North Korea. Yeah. I mean, there's tons of fucking fun and serious political movies that we could watch.
The Interview.
Yes.
The Interview, yeah.
Jinx. Yeah, that's James Franco, right?
James Franco, that's who it is.
Oh, there's a good one starring Billy Corgan called Dick. And by Billy Corgan, I mean Kirsten Dunst.
You mean, I was going to say, which Billy Corgan are you talking about?
All right, let's see. I'm looking up funny political movies. We have The Campaign. We got The Dictator with Sacha Baron Cohen.
Oh, yeah. That was a good one, too.
Head of State starring Chris Rock. When's Black History Month in America? We missed that.
February.
Oh, dude, The Other Guys.
Remember The Other Guys is so good.
Yeah. And there's a lot of hidden shit in there. They talk about like the fucking financial corruption and shit.
Isn't that the one where Will Ferrell used to be Gator?
Yeah, he's a pimp.
Yeah.
Gators bitches don't wear jimmies. No, dude, there's and like fucking The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson just jump off a building and kill themselves.
Jump off the building. We're gonna land in that bush right there.
Desk pop.
Yeah, there's no bushes.
That'd be a good watch along.
Fucking desk pops.
He ends up getting a rape whistle because they take away the wooden gun. Because he lacquers and varnishes it.
Hey, there's also Team America World Police. That's
true.
A sleeper.
Team America is a good one, man. You gotta love it when puppets shit on people's chests.
The sex scene was my favorite in that, dude. Wild so sex scene. The puppet.
I just love that Matt Damon the whole time just goes, Matt Damon.
Yeah, and he's actually like a brilliant person. That's why it's so funny. Like he's very fucking like high IQ. I don't know how smart he is, but high IQ. So it's funny how they just make him seem retarded. I just watched Basketball yesterday, and what a good movie. I mean, they even
for the first time?
No, I've seen it before. Like when it first came out, I've seen it here and there, but I watched it again.
I cut all the chrome off of this trailer hitch for you.
Yeah, dude, it's
soften my lobby.
It's so good. Like just how they shit on sports and like how dumb it was. Like the opening montage where, you know, there's a guy getting hauled off on a stretcher and the whole team and the referees are getting involved in a choreography, dance and shit. It's great. Good stuff.
Yeah.
But,
oh, dude, fucking, they make fucking solid shit.
I'd be happy to even do some of these South Park movies that they've been coming out with more recently, like the Ozempic one. They did one on COVID. You know, we can do all those. Those are a little shorter too. We can even probably squeeze 2 in. But yeah, you guys, it's up to you. I'm along for the ride.
Okay. Well, there we go, folks. If you haven't seen this film in, say, 10, 15 years like the rest of us, probably don't watch it. Don't watch it.
Don't watch it.
Or do. I'm not here to tell you what to do in your life.
It's fucking terrible.
But take our advice.
And what a sales pitch this was, right? If we're trying to convince someone to watch a movie.
This movie's already made way too much money. I'd prefer to keep it at the level that it's at.
It can't be behind a paywall right now.
I think
it was free, which was amazing. With all the misogyny, it was amazing that it was free.
Yeah. What, Amazon or something or what?
Yeah. It's on Amazon for free. It's worth about what you're going to pay for it.
Can you put a dollar figure on that, Bob?
Man, you couldn't pay me to watch this movie again.
I bet you someone could.
That's a big call.
I'm just like, nah.
You just said you got a price.
Yeah, so what's your price?
Man, it would have to probably breach $500.
Okay. I was going to say, don't be like fucking 4,000.
No, it'd have to be more money than I can make in 2 hours. So it would have to be,
that's fair.
It'd have to be over $500.
I like that. That's fair. That's funny, dude. Well, hey, there you have it.
So is that the going rate for hooking these days? $500 an hour?
I fucking wish.
Dude, I would go out and hook for $500 an hour.
Well, that shit, you probably could.
Yeah. Can finish anywhere for an extra $300. That's where it's at.
What's the movie where the dude can come on command?
Come on command? I forget.
Yes.
Oh, Zack and Miri?
No, it was fuck, what was it? I think I watched it fucking not too long ago. This dude's like, yeah, I just come on command.
I don't remember.
Like that was his deal. But Zack and Miri, speaking of that movie, you know what? Watch that movie instead of this one. Like, you want a good movie? Watch Zack and Miri make a porno.
Yeah, it's probably got more political.
My favorite line from that movie is when they're talking in the coffee shop, and the dude walks up and he goes, "Yeah, I'd like a large coffee, black." And he goes, "Can't you see I'm talking white?"
Yeah. Dude, I pulled up this. I said, movie with guy coming on command. And there are articles
Jesus
about
Christ.
how to come on command from Quora. I've developed a strong ability to control and time my ejaculations on command, either delaying them or bringing them on sooner. Like shit like this. Like people are wild getting out here just talking about. This is a blurred picture.
So the internet hasn't changed since the last time I looked at it. It's good to know.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, this is a work computer too, so probably not the best thing to look at. But
you're gonna have
I got Skin Diamond. Apparently, Come on My Command was a film starring Skin Diamond.
That'd be a very uncomfortable watch along.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Jeez. So yeah. Not sure what that movie is, Bob, but I believe
we're starting to go into the gutter a lot more than I thought we would. So
yeah, all right.
On that note, everyone, we're going to catch you next time. We'll figure out what the next film's going to be, and we'll see you all again next month.
Game over, man. Game over. What are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do? Get to the chopper!
No! God, please, no! No! No!
You don't approve. Well, too bad.
Don't let me beg here, because I will do it.
We'll keep going. You want another one? Say the word. Just say the word. Yes. You got it. You got another one right there. That's another one, pal.
Wow! Oh, I'm so happy. I can't even feel my arms.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.